Welcome to the Firebelly Social Show. We're focused on talking to food and beverage brands that are on a mission to make the world better.
Hey, everyone. Duncan here with another episode of the Firebelly Social Show, where we chat with founders and leaders of mission-driven food and beverage brands. Thank you for tuning into this latest episode. I'm so thrilled to have a great guest and a great show lined up for you today. We're talking to Nadia Liu Spellman, CEO and founder of Dumpling Daughter. This episode is brought to you by Firebelly Marketing. At Firebelly, we help mission-based food and beverage brands bring people closer together through social media marketing. So if you're ready to use social media to create more community and excitement around your food and beverage brand, go to firebellymarketing.com to learn more. So with no further ado, I'm so excited to welcome Nadia from Dumpling Daughter. She's the dynamic force behind this venture. She launched it in 2014 to celebrate and extend her family's rich culinary heritage, and that is putting it lightly. With a passion for flavor, she's expanded the company into a beloved Boston area restaurant chain and a sought-after line of frozen foods and sauces. She's also the author of a book, and today her products are enjoyed nationwide, available in over 1,000 markets and easily accessible via Amazon Prime and dumplingdaughter.com. Welcome to the show, Nadia. So happy to have you.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to a good time.
Well, you have had such an amazing and interesting life and childhood, and your parents' legacy lives on today. Can you tell us about the time that you decided to turn all of these amazing memories into a business?
I think that the restaurant and the family meals and the experiences that I was blessed with as a child around food have really been ingrained in the DNA, and very, very strong in my life, that I've always wanted to do something in food. And it was the constant exposure and the experiences that they put me in that shaped who I was, and the important lessons that they taught me of pursuing your passion and what you innately love and enjoy. And that translated right back into food and hospitality, because that's where I was comfortable. And that's where I feel that I most comfortable and touches my heart. And so I knew that's what I wanted to do from a very young age.
Well, bravo. And let's give the credit. Your parents' restaurant, Sally Ling's, not only is a Boston institution with lots of amazing guests, but was probably like your home away from home as you were growing up. How did that environment and how did it shape you, and how did it specifically shape your love for dumplings?
Yes, it was such an inspiration to watch my parents move about the dining room, work together in their restaurant. And I felt motivated by them. I think that my body, my mind, something soaked up whatever they were doing, because I felt like it was so special and it was glamorous. Of course, they worked hard. But as a child, you see kind of the glamour side of it. And I really respected that. And I really wanted to celebrate that somehow, because I was so proud of them. And at a young age, I really felt how lucky I was to be in this environment, hanging out with Julia Child on her 80th birthday, and the governor and Martin Yan and Yo-Yo Ma and all of these incredible people would be regulars. And so I think that was really just motivational. And I felt like I was obligated to carry on this legacy. And it's my job to celebrate that for my family. And that's why I also obviously love to eat. I was spoiled by banquet food and white linen tablecloths. But my favorite times were at my grandmother's house, when we would sit around and make dumplings together. We would boil them, pan-sear them, and then leave some in the freezer. And during the week after school, we would cook the dumplings and I would be transported right back to grandma's house on Sunday. And so that is where the love of the dumplings came, is that they were such a quick and easy way to enjoy a delicious meal and feel nostalgic about the previous week's family event. And they're just they're the ultimate comfort food, but not only in the way they taste and smell, the way you feel when you eat them, but the memories that are related for me.
I mean, that is the heart of your venture and your drive and your company is the love for family and your family story.
Yes, and I often feel like I make the family sound like this amazing, perfect family. We weren't, right? My parents actually became divorced. And actually, I think that is what drove me more to celebrate the beautiful times. And I don't ever want people to think, well, she had this perfect family and that's why she wants to celebrate. No, it's actually the journey and the difficulties, the obstacles that I faced growing up through the family changes that made me so sentimental about the great times.
And what role did all of this play in you deciding to share this story with the world through the book? And what was that like?
I had always, in the back of my mind, wanted to write a book about what my parents did and where they came from because I really found it interesting how they came together and how the universe has these big plans for all of us. And so I wanted to share that story, but I also want to share my mom's recipes, my family recipes, restaurant recipes with my children. So the goal was to kind of celebrate the previous generations and tell the story to my kids with the recipes so that no matter how long we're all here, my kids and their kids can all enjoy my mom's, grandmother's, our restaurant's recipes. And I think that was the driver of it. It was a gift to my mom, but it was also a gift to my children. And so that's something I always want to do. And when COVID hit, it presented a great opportunity for me to sit at home and do it.
I mean, very, very, very true. There have been, definitely some bonuses from the pandemic. Now, I have to take a little departure from our conversation trajectory to ask you, like, to you, like, what is the quality? I'm sure you've eaten other people's dumplings. What is the quality of a dumpling that just completely transports you to heaven?
What is the quality of the dumpling?
Yeah, like what are the things that I know that you focus on, the skin of the dumpling and the juice in the
Oh,
the sauce.
yeah. I would say that the dumplings that my grandmother made were learned from her family that is from northern China. And that is where dumplings were born 4,000 years ago, is northern China. They would take flour and water and they would make it into a work of art. It's like a noodle, and then they would put filling in it. And that's the first ravioli. And now there's probably 45 versions from around the world. And it's very different from a gyoza, which is Japanese dumpling, or a Korean mandu, or even a shumai or a wonton from the Cantonese regions down south of China. So I love the recipe that my grandmother made. It's a little bit chewy, al dente, feels like handmade, um, durable enough to withstand boiling, not recommended to steam, actually. You need the water. And then also when you pan sear, it has like a crisp, like a cracker on one side because the skin is a little bit thicker. It's not doughy, it's just thicker. And I love that texture. And so when I set out to start Dumpling Daughter, it was really important for me to find exactly the dumpling that emulates what my grandmother made or what my mother makes at home. Because there's so many breeds of dumplings and they all should be celebrated. But I really wanted to push the one that I grew up with.
I know in the pre-show we were talking about Asma Khan, who is, a friend of mine and has become a global icon for women entrepreneurs. And I thought that one of the things that resonated with me that you both say is that you cannot separate us from our stories. You know, yes, if you love dumplings, please find out like where this particular dumpling was inspired and what's the story behind the dumpling. What is the family that all of this comes from? So I love that approach and that you're bringing that cultural um, richness to the table. That is just so amazing, and thank you for doing that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think everybody has um, something from their childhood that they love, and if they're inspired enough by it, they can share that. I hope more people share their childhood foods.
So as back to the business side of things, as the company has grown and you're getting into more channels and so on, what strategies do you use to increase visibility and to kind of communicate all these things about your brand that stand out?
Yeah, obviously, social media is something that we can't hide from. It's something that we need to really embrace. And me as the founder in front of the camera lens, being active and sharing my story, talking about food, these are all things that bring it back to the basics, passionate about. So it's easy. Social media is huge. YouTube, I'm trying to get content on YouTube because I think that it's a beautiful platform to share in long form. And I also think that we have to do the traditional email marketing because our fans um, are signed up for that, and things like this, Duncan. Ways that we can be exposed and share our stories. This is amazing that you give people like me a platform to share.
Absolutely, yeah. It's our advocacy work. When we first started, I didn't even know that that was the proper term for it. I just wanted to talk to founders that I thought were making the world better. And I know that to some people that sounds very very simple, like you're simple-minded. And I'm like, if that's how you think about it, that's fine. But I feel like that's the way I can connect with people and give them the platform to say whatever they want. And there's no expectations. There's no requirements. The only requirement is that you be interesting. So thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that. So let me ask you this: what are you particularly excited about today?
Whenever I do a podcast or an interview, I feel like it's such a nice moment to pause and think about how things have changed, right? Because I do them monthly or quarterly. Um, and it's such a great question because for entrepreneurs, it's never the same. You're never going to have the same day and you're not going to be going through the same things and you're learning every single day. So, yes, in the moment, it's always different. I think at this moment in time, as we approach the fall season, it's about the momentum that we've built in 2024 that brings us to what we call dumpling season. When the weather gets colder and when families are getting together for the holidays, this is the time that dumplings just fly off the frozen shelf. So it's dumpling season, caterings are busy. And what is wonderful right now is that I've learned in the last 10 years of doing business that you can't always be working so hard every day, constantly. You have to take time off to appreciate all that you've worked for. And I really like taking a simple moment every day or half a day off to celebrate and recognize all that we've accomplished. And with that comes teamwork and how much I love my team. And I'm so grateful for them because you can't do anything without the right people on your side. And so I think right now, today, speaking with you, my feelings are that I'm so grateful for everything we've worked for, the people that I work for. I really enjoy and love what I do. And I love growing people's careers. And it's just very meaningful and rich to me. So that's what's happening. I'm like mentally preparing myself for a very busy fall, maybe ramping it up on TikTok, YouTube, a lot of consumer facing work for me. And the more intense that gets, the more I need to remember to take time for myself too, and to recognize and be grateful.
That's amazing. I'm so glad that you're doing that because, I tell you, I've talked to, probably more than 150 founders in this journey with the podcast. And most founders do not take the time to do that. They don't take the time to pause and say, hey, I've accomplished a lot. Even if I fail, I've accomplished so much. And, that's wonderful. We were talking about Danny Meyer's directive to a founder once where he said, you're going to succeed. Just take the time to enjoy the journey. And that's wonderful that you're enjoying the journey. How often do you eat dumplings? I had to ask that because I know from so I grew up in India, and we have momos in India, which are Tibetan dumplings that have like migrated to India, right? And so I would eat dumplings if I could every day.
I would say I eat dumplings 4 to 5 days a week because when I'm in the restaurants, I always have to try them. And when we do manufacturing at our facility, we get samples and I have to try them. So I'm eating like 1 to 4 a day, 4 to 5 days a week.
That's a lot of dumplings, and I would never get tired of dumplings. So
I'm actually not tired of dumplings. Sometimes like my kids and I will make them at home because it's just a fun activity to be together and do it. And so if I'm not doing it for work, like testing samples or eating at the restaurant, I'm still making them at home.
That's amazing. So you were talking about social media and TikTok and YouTube. That must be quite the challenge, I'm sure, to always be reaching new audiences. How important are new audiences for you?
I think it's really interesting because everyone can eat dumplings, especially in my category, right? Everyone can eat dumplings. And so when people say, who are your customers? Well, they're definitely people that want a quick and easy solution from the freezer aisle, people that want something more than pizza and burgers and the average freezer aisle item. I think that it can also be the next generation, right? The teenagers in their 20s, the Gen Z, they love flavor, they love spice, they like sweet, they want something more. And so I think that they're our customer too. And I also think that the older generation too, actually, my mom is in Florida. And whenever they have parties with all of her friends, I mean, they're all like over 68 years old. And my mom brings dumplings, and that's the first thing that goes because it's just so delicious. And so everyone can love dumplings and have them. And we just want to reach as many people as we can. There really is no target market. It's everybody.
It's anyone who has a spirit of adventure and a need for practicality.
Well said. Well said.
Hey, listen, I made a major mistake. I forgot to ask about the sauce.
Oh yeah, we have sauce too. Our sauce is not just for dumplings. It's for people want to bathe in it. They want to drizzle it on everything. They want to marinate with it. They want to combine it with fresh herbs and garlic or olive oil and make it into a salad dressing. Our sauces are really fun, versatile, a new level of flavor when it comes to Asian because they're complex. There's a lot that goes into them. And real chefs, home chefs, they recognize the difference and the quality and the depth of flavor there. And so although the sauces came about because people at the restaurants said, well, if you're selling the frozen dumplings, you need to sell the bottled sauce. That's how it came about. I never thought I would have a sauce line, but because people asked for it, that's what we did. And I'm really good at getting feedback and listening to my customers. Um, and that's why we have the sauces. But we've discovered that people love it on so much more. This summer, I was using a whole bottle to marinate 2 pounds of steak tips and put them on the grill. So good. So, it's really fun that there's multiple lines of products that all go really well together.
That's phenomenal. What about like I meant to ask you this earlier. What do you do to keep yourself strong? How do you rest? What do you do for fun?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I love to be on a regular workout schedule. I think it's really important for women specifically to do strength training and to build strong muscles and bones and joints to prepare for later in life. And that's why I do it. I really like to do strength training. I love yoga. It's been an incredible experience getting into yoga. And along with yoga came inspiration to do somatic therapy, which is, how you feel in your body. Uh, I've done talk therapy my whole life because, right, I said my parents got a divorce when I was little, and I went straight to the guidance counselor in middle school because I couldn't focus on school. And I realized how amazing it was to have talk therapy when I was little. And so I guess as I get older, I'm discovering new ways of dealing with my problems, whether it be work or personal, how you can take best care of yourself for your children and you so that you can be the best version of yourself for your team. And I always feel like the founder, the CEO needs to be the healthiest person in the company because we lead and we have to be an example for everybody. And so I've really discovered new ways of um, taking really good care of myself first. And I put my workout in my calendar every day so that the whole team knows not to bother me in that hour.
I mean,
um,
this is amazing. I love this not only because I love what you're saying, but also I practice this myself. In my case, I was divorced too, and I love talk therapy, and I've switched to coaching. But I think that the fact that we are at the center of our own ripple, and if we don't take care of ourselves, everybody's screwed. So I love that you said it the way you said it. That's just brilliantly put. I have to find out more about somatic therapy, so I'm going to put that on my list of things to do. What about music? Do you listen to music?
yes, I love music. I grew up as a figure skater and I was training for the Olympics at a very young age. So I was constantly listening to classical music. And I think that really made me passionate about all music because that is the foundation, right, of really kind of deep music is classical. And if you enjoy that and listening to that at age 6 going forward, you learn to appreciate everything else, all the different sounds, instruments. I love it all, really. There's nothing I don't enjoy listening to. I actually really like having music on all the time.
That's wonderful. That tapestry to weave your thoughts onto is how I put it. People say, "How do you listen to music all the time? Isn't it distracting?" Like I don't sometimes even listen to the words. I just hear the melody. So, what advice do you give to other people, that or where you were 10 years ago?
Wow, where I was 10 years ago. I have been through this incredible journey because I was gifted the opportunity from my husband. He said, do whatever you like, right? He gave me that creative freedom. And with that, I thought, well, if I can do anything I want, I'm going to pursue my passion, which my late father always told me pursue your passion, then it's not hard work and it comes naturally. So, taking all the people's advice from my lifetime And being put in a position by my husband that he said, go do whatever you want. I got to dig deep and figure it out. And I remember I wrote the business plan, and it took me 3 years to find the first location for Dumpling. It was so frustrating that I almost decided not to. And as a woman, you're very cognizant of also, when do I want to have kids? When do I want to start a family? And you don't want to start too late. And so the 3 years of looking and writing a business plan and refining that business plan, oh boy, at the end of 3 years, I was like, do I even want to do this? Because I'm 34. Um, so, you know, it all worked out though, right? Like I had to go through those 3 years to appreciate what I have today. And so what advice I would give people is sometimes things may seem amazing or seem really hard, but you have to feel those lows to feel the highs. And once you're at the high, you really appreciate it because you felt those lows. And I was so bored out of my mind. I was so frustrated. But when I finally opened the doors to the first restaurant, it was a whole new wave of emotions, right? And it was so hard to be everywhere at once. I really wanted to be, and I really tried hard to be. And I was pushed to the edge. And that's when my aunt, who is actually she's a Harvard doctor and also established the School of Mindfulness at Harvard. She told me, Nadia, you are not focusing. You're not present in this conversation. I know you have a lot on your plate, but you need to go outside 5 minutes a day, take some really deep breaths. What she was telling me to do was meditate. And she said, go do that every day and you come back refreshed. And I'm so glad she came into my restaurant and saw me just like going crazy in my head because she taught me something so valuable that day that I've taken very far today. And so I would always recommend to anybody, my best advice is to take that time for yourself, take those deep breaths, do that meditation or do that practice at the gym or whatever it is, take a walk, be by yourself in your own self to inspire yourself more actually, and to come back refreshed. And another piece of advice would be that every day you should learn something. And if you don't feel like you're learning something, I bet you still are because you're feeling something and like take that feeling and process it into a lesson for the day. I remember those long 3 years that I was frustrated. I wasn't learning much. I wasn't searching. I was just kind of taking time to be frustrated, but I was like 28, 29, 30 years old. And as you get older, you realize that you have to take something and learn every day and really value all these days. Because once you get really busy, the days aren't long enough, right? Now that I'm really busy, I wish I had 24 hours to be awake and like 6 hours to sleep because it's never done. Work is never done. There's so much more to do. And it's like stuff you want to do, not that you dread. I don't really dread anything that I do. I love it all. So, and if it's something that I actually feel like this is a really hard thing to do, you're like, okay, well, I'm going to learn something from it. Because the harder it is, the more you're going to upgrade after you're done, right? So you level up every time you do something hard, you upgrade yourself.
I think it's a wonderful, wonderful practice to learn something every day. I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that very seriously. I know yesterday I was like, I'm going to make the best damn tacos for my family today. And even though I make ground beef tacos all the time, I was like, I'm going to watch 5 or 6 YouTube videos. I watched something on Masterclass. I spent like an hour watching and learning things. And I was like, oh, I think I got some new ideas. I put corn into the salsa. So I think that's a wonderful, wonderful idea. And we need that quiet, right? That quiet is so critical, especially as a founder and entrepreneur. You have so much shit in your head all the time. Everything from, liability, insurance, distribution, financials, projections, shit. It just goes on and on and on. So that's really anything. I want to make sure we remind people You can go directly to dumplingdaughter.com to buy the products, and you can also get them in a lot of other places. Where else can they get them, Nadia?
Yes, we are sharing our dumplings through our own website, dumplingdaughter.com, where you can buy a bundle and you can get the sauce. We have plushie, we have fun merch, and our book. And a lot of people actually buy the book and then ask me to sign something for their friend or for them. So that's always a really nice connection that I can have. You can get our sauces and book and plushie on Amazon. That has been a huge success for us in the last few years. And you can visit our restaurants in Boston area, Brookline, South Boston, and Weston, the original restaurant. They're all around the city of Boston or a 20-minute drive out. And you can also, starting in December, get it at Williams Sonoma, which is a great brand. I love everything they do. And they'll be shipping nationwide and much more reasonable shipping than what we're doing right now because we're just fulfilling ourselves. And you can find it in 2,000 grocery stores about in the Northeast area, going down to the Carolinas through Harris Teeter. And then in the Midwest, we are in a lot of the best independent grocers and small chains there. And I'm very excited to announce Costco next week in the Southeast region. So about 22 locations of Costco. And I hope that we sell out really quickly and they can reorder. Yeah, so those are the places that you can find us.
That's amazing. Yeah, everyone, check it out. I think you're going to love it. And Nadia, any last parting words that you'd like to share with everyone?
No, I think that we covered a lot. I'm just very grateful that you're helping me to spread the word about Dumpling Daughter. And I hope we can continue to share these recipes and these delicious dumplings with as many people as possible. And thank you for the opportunity.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. This has been amazing. In fact, I feel like I'm going to take a page out of the book, Vitch with two V's, and what a delicious journey we've been on today. So a huge thank you to Nadia Spellman for sharing her inspiring story and the magic behind Dumpling Daughter. From cherished family recipes to national recognition, it's clear, Nadia, that your passion and dedication are ingredients in your success. So before we wrap up, I want to remind you, if you haven't had a dumpling lately, this is your opportunity. And also, if you love today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, leave a review. Your support means a lot to us. Thanks for tuning into the Firebelly Social Show. And we shall see you. There's the alarm. We shall see you on the next one.
Thanks for listening to the Firebelly Social Show. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.